Greetings and welcome to your destination. You've reached the Psychological Wellness Hub. We aim to help you build your knowledge and wellness around better understanding mental health and psychological concepts. Welcome back to the channel. Today's topic is another psychological wellness skill. That is the skill of your will number 2, seeing your will. Quick review. What is will? Just like it sounds, your will is yours. It's your ability or capacity to make decisions, to make choices, to act on those accordingly to your preferences rather than just reacting. Inside you have two forces. The first side of your will, which is the wishes to heal, live, and live in peace. There is a second or other side of your will which exercises caution and emphasizes protection to keep you safe. Quick review. What is the value of evaluating your will? We can sometimes get imbalanced in our will, which leads us to the second side of your will, trying to overcompensate. When this happens, you feel too much fear or threatened, which will unfortunately lead you and your will to self-sabotage your goals and desires. This can hurt us in many ways, as you can imagine. For example, our will is at play when we make decisions around going to the gym, losing weight, spending time with others, coping in ways that might hurt or help us, like with too much street or recreational drugs. As we practice evaluating our will, we accept all sides of us, the good with the bad, the pride with the baggage we carry around with us. We accept and move forward with the gains and losses of our actions and choices. Quick review. What does evaluating our will do to our psychological wellness? By practicing and acting on your will, we can improve upon the blemishes, problems, and difficulties we seek to remedy. Quick review. How can we tap into our will further or places to find it? First, go back and watch the video 1 on will. See this in the description on the screen below. Second, go back to the channel and look at more of the several videos on this channel. Watch them all the way because you might just miss out on something worthy. They have clues to practicing and engaging in your will. Then go watch videos on the channel about other conditions because they too can clue you into things about your will. Now, let's look at some examples of ways to see your will better. If we go back to the example of going to the gym, if it is your desire, your will to improve your body, you will have constant forces at play with movement towards this goal and movement away from this goal. That's right, both at the same time. This will play out from your will into things like your thoughts, emotions, esteem, and future goals. So your will is an action with going to the gym. We have forces that we use inside to push, accept, and experience, desire, and motivate when it comes to going to the gym. We also have forces that involve things like discouragement, invalidation, distractions, lack of motivation, and others that can cause us to question this goal. If we let the first force start to dominate our choices, we will go to the gym even though we might hesitate or not completely feeling it. However, if we get overly committed to this goal to the point of obsession with this force, the forces of peace and healing will start to dominate too much, overtaking your force of safety and protection, or the second force. You will start to go to the gym too often, pushing yourself well above your limitations and eventually hurting yourself, like your back, tearing a muscle, dropping a heavy weight on yourself, breaking a bone, or even more. If we let the second set of forces, the one that wants to use caution, engage in our protection system, starts to take too much of the reins or control, then we will engage in our will of not going to the gym. This can happen periodically. If we do not use our will to bring things back into balance, then this second force will dominate and push us farther away from healing and reaching our goals. So this will look a lot like us becoming fearful and discouraged around our goals and not going to the gym, and we end up back in conflict with ourselves where we will accept the status quo of not meeting our goals and accepting defeat or failure. Let's look at some more general examples and move on to examples of people. Let's go back to the example, the role of your will when it comes to losing weight. If this is your desire, but you go out and eat and continue a pattern of eating high-fat, high-calorie items and not counterbalance this elsewhere, you will not reach your goal, get even more discouraged, and remain in conflict accepting things as they are of your goal not being met. Impulse, fear, and doubt within your will take over. However, if you let your choices be consistent with your goals of losing weight and you practice balance in your food intake, you will not be in conflict and you will reach your goal eventually. Your desire to save money versus spending all of it. Which way will your will take you? Your desire to have successful friendships and relationships. Which way will your will take you? You will remain stubborn and indignant with things that hurt you and others around you. Which way will your will take you? You will maintain your leisure and fun factor. Which way will your will take you? You will combat your depression or accept it as futile. You will take the medication to further your health or avoid it. You will apply for that job or avoid it because you think they don't want you. I'm going to read some examples of individuals who let one side of their force dominate in their lives and another person who uses their will to move towards their goals in a more balanced way. Please note these are not real people, but their stories represent real scenarios. Listen while I tell you about their story. Listen for examples of their will changing course. Lastly, I'll specifically point out some observations of will for each individual before moving to the next. Emmanuel is a 21-year-old pharmacy student in college. He studies and works to get reasonable grades. He hopes one day to become a pharmacist. As he studies for tests, he notices he gets worked up and how it's distracting to him, so he learns to take breaks periodically. He hears about a classmate doing well on tests and compares himself to them, convincing himself long before he takes his test he's going to fail. He gets an invite from a friend to go to a movie and blow off some steam, but he turns this down, telling himself it would be wasting time thinking about his test. He then worries for several hours and realizes he might have taken that offer to go to the movies. Emmanuel's will. He gets worked up studying for tests, compares himself to classmates too often, which equals him convincing himself he's going to fail. He turns down opportunities for a healthy break and worries incessantly about his test. Which side of his will dominated and is starting to get in the way of his goals and wellness? That's right, the second force, the one who is driven by fear, concern, and protection. Jasmine, a woman in her 40s who goes to work daily. Her destructive anxiety is noticed to present itself at her work and family, but it takes her a while to see it, as all she knows is she's feeling destructive anxiety. One day she decides enough is enough and makes a decision that she will not let the destructive anxiety lead her life. A friend and a coworker asks her to go to a movie, which she normally turns down. She decides to go, and she enjoys herself at the movies. She wakes up the next morning noticing that she didn't get anxious after the movie. As Jasmine looks into this further and takes an inventory, she notices that she does spend a lot of time worrying, that sometimes in addition to the concentrated worry in the moment, she gets lost in the worry and it affects her productivity at work, which she does not like. As she continues to evaluate this further, she sees how destructive this can become and how she brings this home. She brings this home and worries about her family. These two feed her total worry together. She is also realizing that worrying more at work equals more worrying that she brings home and less time with family. She also realizes that she worries more about family, which equals less time with them when she is off work, which equals more anxiety about this when she is at work. She takes a stand to try her best to disrupt this pattern that seems to be fixed and impenetrable. She finds herself worrying about work at home, so she spends time with her family. Of course, she is still going to worry, but then she watches a movie with her family. After a while, the worrying starts to lift, like it did when she went to the movie with her friend at work. She makes a connection, and one day she is worrying at work about her family, so she takes a quick break to connect with them by phone or text. She feels good about this and then goes back to her work, worrying less about her family. In case you didn't catch it, Jasmine sees her destructive anxiety and will being compromised. So she took a stand to notice destructive anxiety pattern at home with family and at work as it impacts her and her life-work balance. She started engaging her will slowly by bringing it back into balance. Instead of letting the second force that emphasized concern, fear, protection dominate, she chose through her will to activate more of her first force that emphasizes her wish to heal and have inner peace. This started moving her towards combating her destructive anxiety, reducing her intensity and frequency of worry. As the will became more balanced and eventually started to lean towards the wish to heal, she was well more on her way to give more balance at her work, home, and with family. We hope you found today's topic was useful for yourself or someone else. Let us know if it was by commenting below. Let us know what you'd like to hear about or what topics could be useful to you by commenting below, and we'll take it under consideration. If you like what you heard today and would like to hear more from Destination Psychological Wellness Hub, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. This will help you get the newest content produced by the channel to you. Please tell all your friends and family about this channel or share this and other videos with them on this channel. Encourage them too to like and subscribe. And as always, we hope your psychological wellness continues to grow with us in this community. Thank you.